Look at her. I made this from scratch.
I made this coming from scratch. Oh, it's so funny. I feel like I was not close with Daya really at all in the competition. I feel like she was very team Bosco in the whole experience. So I felt like she didn't like me, and as a result, I didn't really like her, honestly. And so I just sort of kept my distance from her. And then when we kind of got to tour with each other a bit more, I realized she's actually the nicest person in the entire cast. Like, she's really, really fucking sweet. And two, she's my favorite person to smoke weed with. Because like on tour, we'll like have an edible or whatever, and then we'll be in a group, and then I'll get like the giggles, and I'll just look over at her, and she's already looking at me like. And then one time we were in Australia, and I took a little bit too much of an edible, and it really hits me hard. And, you know, I got like a bit, sort of, you know, too high. And I was like, let's just go out, let's just shake it off. And we went to this bar in Australia, and there were so many people that were like, oh my God, it's you. And when you're high, that is the last thing you need.
Oh, especially on an edible where you can really start to go somewhere weird.
I know. And so there was this guy that came up to me, and he had a blue beard and blue hair, and he wouldn't leave me alone. And he was demanding that he buy me a drink. And so I've never run out of a club before, but that was the first time I've ever run out of a club. And I turned back, and Daya Betty was running right after me laughing. And she was like, girl, I can't handle it either, let's go home. I love her, she's great.
Okay, look at her.
Bosco!
Oh my your goodness. Arch nemesis, your forever enemy.
I know, oh my God. You know, what's more annoying about her is that she is beautiful and she's funny. You know, and if she has some talent, then she'd be a real threat. Oh, thank God she doesn't.
I mean, of course, what was actually quite a light argument for Drag Race. Yeah. I mean, after the Tamisha, Amon, and Candy Muse of it all, or anything from previous to season 7, your guys was like barely a fight, but of course, it was probably one of the more intense moments of the season, so it was considered Drag Race's greatest battles.
I know, it's odd because like it does have an intensity to it when you watch it because it's just coming from a real place.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it just took people by surprise because I don't think either of us had really even had a relationship up to that point that much. Yeah, I think it's hilarious that I have an MTV award for the best fight.
I know.
Like, it's so ridiculous to me. I put it sort of on the bottom shelf. My friend was like, you need to put that on the top shelf so people will see it when they walk into your house. And I was like, but isn't it weird that I have an award for that? Like, that's the one thing I didn't want to happen on Drag Race was to get into a fight. I was literally like, I just don't want to get into a fight. I want to be like cool with people. I want to get on. I want to make friends. Walked away with a fucking
MTV, the golden popcorn for best fight.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. She's kind of a scary person to have a fight with because she's so clever. And like, I think that if she were to ever go back on All Stars, like I would be sorry for any girl that like comes for her, you know? Because she's just really, really clever and she's really fast. And she has some of the best reads, like in the dressing room, you know. And she'll call you out on your bullshit, like before you can even realize that you've said something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's also like just she's down for it. And she's someone too that like if ever there's bullshit going on, or if I'm over it, I can look at her and like, you know, she's very real. So like you can connect with her on things on tour like that. So yeah.
You were on tour with her too, right?
A lot, yeah. So maybe it's because of our fight, I don't know. I think after we got back from filming and we had to keep everything a secret for a while, she was the one person that I would connect with a lot on the phone. And I think because we didn't know how it was gonna turn out.
Yeah.
And neither of us knew if like, because of editing and everything, if people were gonna be Team Bosco or Team me.
God, yes.
You know, like, so there's just so much that goes to your mind when you're sitting there with us, sitting on a secret. And I think because we were worried about it, we ended up being like the coolest with each other. We were like, we're actually cool, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were just competitive, you know, and, but it all worked out in the end.
It did, with the victory going to you.
Yes, exactly.
Well, look at you.
Who's next? What bitch is next?